Just to remind everybody that language usage and content that we provide here may be disturbing, disgusting, probably will be and should be. Words like bloody custard and words that rhyme with that may be featured. Actually will be featured. In fact, perhaps will only be featured. Just warning you. Yes, this show is brought to you by Wow Tables and iVape.in.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
All right, we meet a man who is going to change journalism on its head. Well, I don't know about that, but he's going to drive good cars and drink some reasonably good liquor and have a good look at India and society at large. Anant Goenka is going to tell us about the digital revolution in the news business.
Cyrus says we have other shows too. You should check them out.
Hello, I'm Vasudha Sharma and I am the headliner on Made in India with May.
Made in India is India's first indie music podcast hosted by May Thomas. You can find it on indusvox.com or subscribe to it on your favorite podcasting app.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
Well, here on Cyrus Says, I have to say something which perhaps is going to scare and shock a lot of people. I can't lie. It will terrify you. But I'm going to say it anyway. I just warn you to stand a little away from whatever thing you're using to listen to this so-called podcast. But the pain is, the anguish is, I can't even say the words. I came back from Sri Lanka a week back and at 12 midnight, the plane was on time. Jet Airways, well done. And that's where it ended. We reached the immigration queue. I was at the wall. In business class, it took 1 hour 26 minutes. Okay? When I asked the officer about the situation, he said, please blame the Prime Minister because they want more people and they aren't given it. And I finished with that. 6 feet away, there was the ugly woman in a sari sitting who asked to check the passport to see the stamp. They're still doing that. What the hell are they doing? Making us go through immigration where the stamp happens and then 6 feet later making us show the passport again, another bloody queue, and again they see the damn stamp. What, they stamp our forehead so we can show everybody what we're feeling? I can't take these queues. I'm not a queue person. It's called Cyrus Says.
Cyrus says ad breaks are beneficial to your mental health.
This show is brought to you by Wow Tables. I spoke to Kunal and Deepa, the founders, about Wow Tables. Now tell us, what does it entail completely? How can we save money, we're Indians? We're not interested in anything else but how we can save money and enjoy a good meal.
So we've got curated dining experiences at some of the nicest restaurants in several cities in India now.
Okay.
And they're, well, apart from the fact that we guide you into what to order and what to not, we also help you save at least 30 to 50% on that.
What are you saying? 30 to 50% on a meal?
That's right.
I'm in. Count me in. I eat a lot. You better be careful. Don't want to break the
And
bot.
you get to have multiple courses.
Oh, so you can tell I eat a lot, huh? Deepa, that's very rude. It was not necessary. That was mean. Visit wowtables.com to book an experience and use the code Cyrus Says to get 500 rupees off on your first reservation. I repeat, 500 rupees off. That's 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus another 100. Yeah, that's right.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Yes, here with Anant, who's been kind enough to come. Anant Goenka from the famous Goenka family, Indian Express, and he's the new generation that's going to lead media in the right direction, or at least I'll say that and we'll edit it and we'll say what we want later. But Anant, welcome to the show, and I just ranted about this immigration queue. I know you travel a lot, but what's wrong with... They said we're going to make Mumbai into Beijing about 20 years ago, and I don't know. When you come there, the first exposure to foreigners is ridiculously badly planned crowd management, and then that stupid stamp which is redone 6 feet later. It's just, why are they doing this? Why can't we get this right? How tough is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really improved a lot, though, Cyrus. I mean, I love the rant, but I think it's really improved. I mean, if you remember traveling 10 years ago...
How sweetly you said I love the rant. Am I that aggressive? No, you're right. I agree with you. 100% improvement is there. But again, we've slipped. Last 2 weeks, we're talking November here, 2015, there has been definitely a problem between 12 and 2:30. Too many flights arrive. Let's deal with it. We have labor. Yeah. We can have more people there.
Yeah, I think one of the main issues is that we really like to check in AC. I think if you have to do checking, if there's no AC, it becomes a big problem. So I think in the airport, everything is checked like 3, 4, 5 times.
So what you're saying is we remove the roof.
Yes.
And everything ends quickly.
Exactly.
We run like animals in the forest from the plane and we go home peacefully.
I believe that might help.
I think your thinking is at last making sense because I have no idea how to deal with it. And I still don't understand why they have to check the stamp twice in 10 feet.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. I know that you're representing the media. You write columns yourself and let's face it, your newspaper newspaper is one of the best we have. One of the few newspapers, you can't say it, but I can, who actually tell it like it is, unlike a few others who we won't mention. But I'm just thinking that as you go into New Age India, these little things we have to clean up,
Yeah.
Because foreigners come in, they get a certain look at India, and we want to give them a nice... Because there's so much nice things around in the country, like Aishwarya Rai, Priyanka Chopra. I mean, just to name a couple.
No, I agree with you. And I think...
About Aishwarya Rai and Priyanka Chopra.
I've had a crush on Aishwarya Rai since I was...
Abhishek Bachchan.
Since I was 11 years old, so I won't disagree with you on that.
And it's not gone away?
Not yet.
Would you like to meet her?
I had the opportunity a couple of times.
This is your Ellen DeGeneres moment. Aishwarya! No, of course we don't have. You've had the opportunity, but we haven't. Yeah.
I've had and I've had nothing to say. Every time I've shaken her hand, I've had absolutely nothing to say.
Or was she sleeping at the time? Because it'd be really embarrassing if you shook her hand and said, "Wake up, Aishwarya, it's me." Yeah.
In fact, it was very confusing.
But why would you be tongue-tied? You come from a royal lineage of the media. I mean, you come from your own set of famous celebrity people and families. So you lose nothing next to the rise.
I've had a very scarring experience with pretty women and actresses, especially at a very young age.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I'm here, Cyrus, is because you were the cause of that.
What?
You have no recollection of this, so I'm going to say it.
Oh my God. I'm worried now. I was in drag. It was your 11th party. It's the only gig I got. Amit Doshi, you forced me to do this.
No.
You pulled off my sari and found I had only one breast. Is it?
No, it was a long time ago, Cyrus. You were hosting the Screen Awards.
Oh, God.
Screen Awards was my mother's show. I don't know if you...
Right, of course. Hosi Vasunya.
Hosi Vasunya.
Of course, I remember.
Uncle.
Twice we did it, yeah.
3 times you did it.
Yeah. Oh, 3 times, is it?
Yeah. It was a long time ago, but I remember.
I bet it's Google. I'm sure it's Google.
So I think it was about 11 or 12, Cyrus, and I was a huge fan of yours.
What are you saying?
I was watching MTV Bakra all the time.
He says, it's all downhill from here. And
we used to hang out at rehearsals, and we used to swap sort of chais and cutting chais, etc. And I told you, Cyrus, I loved that Urmila Matondkar. She was coming to dance.
She was hot. She's a hot chick, yeah.
And you're talking past tense now, not me.
No, in the sense I haven't seen her for years. No, so I don't want to be put on a stand there because other people will, they'll point out flaws which I don't think are there. And
so she comes in for rehearsal, and I say, Cyrus, and this is my BFF Cyrus at that time, I remember. So like, Cyrus, I really like Urmila. And Cyrus goes up to Urmila and says, "You've got to meet your biggest star. I know he's a little bit fat, and I know he can't probably get it up, but that is your big..."
No! I couldn't have said that. That's mean.
I was shocked. I was. So ever since then, Cyrus, I get a little tongue-tied when I meet a few
this is not true.
attractive
I would have made a
actresses.
sexual comment. That doesn't sound correct.
You made a sexual comment. It was
this
probably...
other guy who impersonates. He's really tall and from Delhi. You can't trust him, yeah.
It was about 2 a.m.
Oh, Christ.
You had been rehearsing for a long time.
Oops. But why would we get it? Oh, God. And after that, I'm so sorry. How do I make it up to you? Okay, I'm going to buy Times of India and I'm going to give it to you. Right now. Anant, give me my checkbook. Right now. We'll make this up. How sad.
Yeah, it was very sad. It was a scarring moment for life, Cyrus.
God, I'm so sorry.
Every dry spell in my life, I blame to you now.
And rightly so. I wish I could make it up to you, but all I can say is that in future, at 2 a.m. in the morning, I will avoid you.
Thank you.
For sure.
Or at least avoid me with the...
Unless we're in immigration, in that queue. Then we need to
Then we have to chat. There's nothing else to do there.
No one can help you there. All right. This, if you're
can I share with the users another Cyrus story of Screen Awards?
Oh, shoot. Okay, go ahead.
But this is more complimentary too.
Okay, all right.
So this time Bakra was at its peak.
Yeah.
And you were comparing, I think, the second year.
Yeah.
And Amitabh Bachchan was in the audience, and he was there to give the Lifetime Achievement Award to Lata Mangeshkar, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And Cyrus Brocha says, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have to give a very special ovation to some funny name you made up. Let's just call it Soda Wala, whatever. Some funny Parsi name you made up. Like must be your neighbor. I don't know.
Right.
And
I do remember this now. I made them stand. I do remember. Yeah.
I made everybody stand to pay homage to one person who
didn't exist.
Who didn't exist.
Yes.
And Amitabh Bachchan is standing, and Lata Mangeshkar took a while to stand, and she stood, and everybody's standing, and then Cyrus proudly screams, "मैं अपने बच्चे को कहूँगा पूरी इंडस्ट्री को बकरा बनाया."
Yeah, I do remember this vaguely. Yes. After which Lata Mangeshkar never answered my calls for private parties where I wanted someone to sing. The DJs run out of energy at times. Yeah, but I'm still reeling with the Urmila. So I can't believe I said a sexual comment to a kid. Firstly, I'm just thinking that's not right.
I looked a lot bigger then.
No,
I
God.
didn't look 12. I probably looked about 14. So I don't know. It might have been fair.
God, Anant, how do I make it up to you? 'Cause there must be something I can do. Maybe I could be, that guy who follows you with the camera and shoots your life for you for the rest of your life to make up. Except when you meet Urmila. At that point, you send me to the next room. Urmila, if you're listening, of anyone who knows Urmila Matondkar is listening, please, Anant Goenka wants to meet you one more time. This time without me, to just have a normal fan moment. Because he really thought he really thinks you're extremely hot and very sexy and a great actress and would love to hang out with you just for a cup of chai.
Thank you.
Good to go?
Yes.
Good. There's no way she listens to this program. There's no way. I can't help you, Anand. All I can do is avoid you, if that helps. All right, now let's talk about you. The show's about you. Anant Goenka, whole-time director and head of New Media Indian Express. We go back to you come from the Royal Indian Express family, the Goenka family. So obviously this was there in your blood, in your DNA. You went to Annenberg School of Communication.
Yep.
I hope I pronounced that correctly, in USC. And what were you thinking at that point? Were you interested in this whole business, or was it like, okay, I have to do this? What?
No, I've always been. I've grown up in Ramnath Goenka's home, my grandfather's house, and he was the person who founded the paper, and always been very inspired by his stories and his life, and sort of living in that building makes it it's hard not to be.
For those who don't know of this generation who may not be that familiar with Ramnath Goenka, he was one of those people who could speak his mind to anyone.
That's right.
Apparently.
Absolutely.
And that includes heads of state,
yeah,
whose names we won't mention, and people of the military and of that ilk. Yeah, sorry. So you went to Annenberg?
So I always wanted to do journalism. And you wanted to go where there were hot young girls, because that... California was
California.
Yes, it did help a bit.
The first to legalize gay marriage also, but not after Urmila. I will not say anything bad. Not that gay is
doing
bad.
it again, Cyrus.
No, gay is good. Gay is good. Was that Seinfeld moment? No, not that I think gay is great. Yeah.
No, California did help. I spent 6 years in that college.
Doing a 2-year course.
I kept failing. No.
Did I do it again? Urmila moment number 7?
I know. I knew what I was stepping into.
Do the show on your own. I'm leaving. I'm getting calls. Yeah.
No. I did a business marketing undergrad there, and then I stayed back for journalism. And I was a very unconfident writer. Annenberg helped me sort of through that. I still am a very unconfident writer. I don't write nearly as much as I should. But it was great fun. And California just sort of... I don't know if you've been there, Cyrus, but it's...
No, I'm an East Coast guy. West Coast I haven't seen. I've seen people from the West Coast, so they scratch in public, and they're a bit like North Indians in Mumbai. It's like that. Yeah.
But you dress like a Californian. I mean, it's always shorts.
I dress like an out-of-work actor in Lokanwala. Please come there and take a look at the guys outside coffee shops. They dress like me. Yeah, it's always shorts. But we're lucky enough, Anand.
But you're wearing shoes. In California, you got to wear rainbows. I'm
wearing
chappals.
shoes only because I come from the gym. I don't carry slippers in the bag. But otherwise, I have slippers all the time.
But don't you go to the gym at Bombay Gym?
Yeah, but I have to come all the way to Bandra because my producers moved the studio.
Oh, I see.
Recession.
I see. Because getting here, I was told famous studios is only in Mahalakshmi.
It's very confusing. There are 17 famous studios. It's a bit like the Nerula story. I will now relate to you, now that you brought it up. Bruce Springsteen concert in the early 90s. Right. We all traveled from Mumbai because there was no big star coming to, rock and roller coming to India. So we all went to Delhi, and this guy told me that we are going to meet at Nerula's. So we were all splintered, like 4 guys at this time, and 4 guys there. So we all went to Nerula's. The only problem, there were like 26 Nerulas.
Yeah,
and there was no mobile phone.
Yeah.
So the famous is the same story. Amit never told us the 20,000 famous studios all across India.
Only one is really famous.
But that's not the one anymore. We're here. Anant, don't feel bad about this. It's not you, it's me. They downgraded the studio because of me. Let me get back to your life. Let's just focus on your... so you're there. You said I'm sure you're being modest, unconfident writer, this, that, and the other. But were you more interested in writing, or are you more interested... At that point, were you more interested in I'm going to, this is the flagship, I want to push this brand,
No, I think it's more the latter. I've always sort of looked at sort of pushing the institution, next step, sort of digital age. How does Express remain the Express in the digital age?
And also the name that Express has for the last 3-4 generations is the one call a spade newspaper.
Absolutely.
And the one who doesn't really care about right-leaning, left-leaning, central-leaning. It's almost, I think, the only newspaper left in India, English newspaper left in that sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's you're not the only person who has that view, and we're very happy about that. And I think that's the effort. But the challenge on digital is that, how much do people really care about that stuff? I mean, we know that we have a famous saying in the digital world. It's called the infamous ABCD. if you want to do well on digital, you just do ABCD: astrology, Bollywood, cricket, and devotion.
My God.
You know, and so that's the death of.
Let's go to E and F. Let's just do E, and we'll figure out F.
So that's the death of journalism, right? If you stick to ABCD. So the challenge always was, how do you take Express and its values and that kind of journalism and make it sort of work on digital? I've been at it for.
Two questions, Anand. Sorry, two questions. One is, of course, which will come a little later, about pressure from all kinds of people. And secondly, this digital world, we all try to understand it. And you guys being one generation after us,
Sure.
I think you just have it more spot on than we do. This digital world, are you talking to people? Is it all about attention span being a problem? Is it about get to the point quickly? I don't know. For me, growing up a generation above, the print word, if you like a writer, for example, the bigger column would sell. Literally, you know, the well-known writers, Gangadhars and the Khushwant Singhs and Shobha De's later on and all that.
Yeah.
With large columns. Yeah. But now, is it that the digital world is this new world where we need to put 4 lines and 5 lines and a quick picture and a quick, Instagram?
I think we're a very nascent stage in our sort of digital evolution as content consumers on the digital medium. I do think we're evolving really fast. So I think there was a time where, just give me the news really fast. I don't really care who gives it. I don't care, how accurate. Just give it to me quickly and as short as you can.
You know what that sounds like?
And you really don't believe you made a sexual...
No, there's no Urmila here. Look around. We have 5 ugly men. Not counting us 2. We're like the beauties. Oh, and there's beautiful May somewhere in the background. Yeah. She's there. Before I lose. Oh, God, today's not a good day for me karmically in terms of females. I should just stay away. Yeah. No, but again, just explain to us. I don't know whether there's a way to explain this, but are you looking in cricketing terms like a test match versus a T20?
Yeah, exactly. No, I think exactly right. We got to sort of, and this is what we've done. We've always, and we have and had no option. We've had stuck to sort of what we do and really hope for the best. And Cyrus, I'm really happy. We all are really happy with sort of how it's been. Consistently, the last 8-9 months, we have been the 3rd largest news website in India. There are newspapers which are more than double our circulation. We are more than double their traffic on digital consistently for over 18 months now. So I think the internet is an extremely democratic medium, and that is the truth. And I think that good content is actually, it does work. I mean, there is an audience for good content. There is an audience for bad content.
And the non-aligned voice hears itself better on the internet. Is that fair to say?
The non-aligned voice?
A voice which is not controlled.
Conventional logic says, well, no. I mean, actually, so conventional wisdom in the digital world says no. You take a slant, you get better views. So, for instance, Huffington Post, right, one of the biggest digital content brands in the world, started off in a left lean. I mean, Ariana Huffington was a card-carrying member of the left, and
while living the life of a billionaire. That
that left in America can
like
be
Jyoti Basu back home, with his scotch and his cigar and home state.
Well, I mean, in America that left is allowed to profit.
Yeah.
I mean, profit isn't a bad word with the American
not a clean left like it used to be in North Korea.
Right. It's not that left. It's a relative
left and U-turn.
So I mean, and the reason they did so well is because there was a mission. There was a mission to sort of push the left voice, and so they got Tom Cruise to write for free. They got Deepak Chopra. They got people to write for free because they believe in that mission, and then that audience comes with it. So actually, a slant really helps in the digital world.
So they demarcate their own special audience. Then they create their own market.
Exactly.
Is that what's happening in India?
No. Actually, no. So luckily, I don't think we're following that process.
Right.
I think if we look at purely social media, you'll see that there is that attempt. Right. But I think we've evolved beyond that, luckily.
For example, just a simple example. If you were looking, if you think Indian Express is going to give you the most unbiased view,
yes,
and you want to look at, say, writers returning their awards, which is still brewing in the background.
Right.
So is it really a neo-fascist state, or are they overreacting?
Yeah.
Are people just trying to push, the opposition just trying to push this? Is the BJP needs to control their RSS and their, their right-wing, whatever. So the point is that in such a situation, wouldn't people like to read Indian Express?
They would, absolutely.
In such a topic.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which is what I'm saying. The digital sort of consumption patterns are evolving really fast. Mm-hmm. So conventional wisdom says a slant helps. And it might for consistency. Because how often does an event like you're saying, like writers returning awards or intolerance as a topic, how often does that become such a trending keyword for like weeks on end.
Yeah.
You know, somebody wants to come and get the neutral voice.
Too often it's Priyanka Chopra's new outfit. Although why they have to wear outfits, I never understood.
Censor board.
Such a nice body of work there. Yeah. No, but coming back to digital, just explain this to us. I don't know if this is the right question to ask you, but will it eat up print? I mean, is that a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a possibility. It's happening all over the world.
So what happens to the big newspapers abroad now? At the moment, New York Times, for example.
Yeah, well, I think New York Times is a good example because they struggled, but they kept fighting. And I think they've come to a place now where their digital revenues are growing more than their print revenues.
So it's the other one, the younger brother's not holding the bigger brother, almost. It's like switched.
No, New York. Well, yeah, exactly.
Digital will
support.
Get you better revenue.
It won't get you better, but maybe long term. But as of now, the growth of digital is more than the drop in print.
Will that happen in India?
I do believe.
We still have this newspaper culture in middle class India. I really feel that.
No. I don't think in India anytime soon you're going to see newspapers going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, we print one of the largest.
You don't understand, Anant. Look at what all we can do with the newspaper. You got a new puppy. You have to train him.
Yeah.
Somebody pees. You got to put the newspaper down. I mean, there's so many. You can fly in the air.
Bail is the biggest news.
And what about that diarrhea issue? And there's nothing else to wipe. God, dare I say other brands, not yours ever.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not Indian Express. It's too expensive. You would not use Indian Express to wipe
and you get caught up in the article. You forget what you're there for.
My Corpcom chief is going to kill me when she hears this.
Oh, no, come on.
I'm so nervous.
Listen, I'm a big fan of Indian Express. I'm not just saying that because we have to chamcha the guest. And I think a lot of people who think of themselves as centrists.
Yeah.
You know, and not people who like to be swayed to one point of thinking. I've always believed, and I've read my newspaper since I was a young child, thousands of years ago.
Right.
Mangal Pandey was a classmate, so that's how old I am. And I got to tell you that I've always been a fan of Indian Express, and they've remained.
Yeah.
You had this revolution of page 3 and that, the nonsense that comes with it, and who went to what party and holding hands. And I mean, sometimes you feel like shooting yourself in the head when you read that.
Absolutely.
Mr. Sharma and Mrs. Sharma were seen at the event, and they're looking at the camera, and I'm like, what has happened to my life?
Yeah.
I mean, on page 1, you got Paris burning with people dying, and then page 3 of that makes no sense.
So what do you think of this? I mean, why do people still consume that? Obviously, it works. Every other paper is sort of doing it.
I don't read colored supplements. I've just absolutely lost interest. But I think people are just lazy, and they want to just read things which have no pressure.
Mind-numbing sort of stuff.
Mind-numbing.
Yeah.
They don't want to get involved because we are very worried that we're actually very sensitive, and we need to get involved.
Yeah.
And if you allow that area to get larger, then we are that's it.
And I think which is what's happening. Like, so for instance, in Delhi, our circulation is growing very organically, extremely fast. I mean, we're growing at 25% last year without any discounts on the circulation.
Right.
But
do Delhiites pay for the newspaper?
Yeah.
Because I've seen a few pick up things from under the, the mat and run away. Oh, yeah, I'll bring it back one day.
No. So we are targeting the Indian intelligence is what we call the audience. And so I think it's a growing base of people all over India.
That's an amazing piece of information. So in Delhi, there's a huge growth for Indian Express, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is fairly Delhi focused. It's all over the country, but Delhi is seeing this huge sort of 35-40%. I think in this financial year.
So then what happens to digital then in such a case? You're growing in print.
They're two different audiences, completely two different audiences.
Really?
We shouldn't even think of them. Anytime we think of cannibalization, we start making mistakes, and we've been clear about this from day one.
So there's nobody who actually consumes the paper and reads the digital content.
There are people who do both. But there's nobody's going to not read the paper only for digital.
You're right, Anant, and I'll tell you why you're right. Because again, my generation, I know I'm sounding old, we use digital for porn. Because that's what we thought it was there for. That's what I do. I mean, and we use print for actually reading.
Yeah.
So hence we don't waste time with page 3 supplements.
Yeah.
We go straight to the porn, or straight to the reading. This is the two extremes. There's no in between crappy, people dress for a cocktail party waving to camera for
Can I bring a slightly serious take on what you
If
said?
there's no Matondkar, you can.
No, but since Cyrus deprived me of being able to have a articulate conversation with any pretty woman,
so unfair.
Since 12. No, so honestly, from a very academic perspective, purely from an academic perspective, Cyrus, I've looked at porn as an industry very closely. And the reason, I know it's funny to say, but the reason I do that is because pornography has always been at the cutting edge of technology. So if you look at any kind of content...
That's true.
If you look at any kind of content in the world, what is the most commoditized content ever? It's pornography. It's all pretty much the same. I don't know. You might have different kind of pornography that you've witnessed, but most
you really want to discuss this? Other than you tell me about your comm team coming back to us? Okay, let's discuss this. Let's put aside everything else. Let's discuss what porn works for you. Yeah. Right.
No, but so it's the most commoditized piece of content, and if you notice, pornography was the first to monetize a landline. So they had hotlines late at night, you know. Pornography was the first.
By the way, my entire audience outside the 5 engineers and people involved are now listening. They won't listen to a word about our digital content and about being centrist and all that. But everyone is hanging on to every word of your pornographic conversation. Go ahead, my friend.
Unfortunately, I don't have a very, fascinating climax really out of this.
Oh! Anant Goenka!
No.
Oh, man.
That really was a slip, I promise you.
I walked into that. I feel so bad. I feel like a child. Okay.
No, but seriously, pornography, pornography industry was the video on demand in every hotel room, started with porn and moved to news and movies and sports. Pay-per-view television was pornography.
Right.
The idea of free videos on the internet came from pornography, actually. The idea of user-generated content was more successful in pornography than it was in
So what you're saying is it's like an experiment that you have to look at always.
Pornography will always be at the cutting edge of technology. It has always been for the last 20, 30 years. So every time people, you look, the music industry cries about digital, movies cry about digital, we're doing audio podcasts, we cry about digital in a certain sense because nobody's paying for this or whoever does will sort of... But pornography manages to make sense as an industry somehow. And the reason for that is very simple because that is the biggest use of the internet. I mean, only 2 years ago was social media used more than pornography.
As of now, where does pornography stand? Please tell me we're number 1.
So it's a close number 2 to social media.
Damn social media. I hate social media. Oh, how can we lose?
Well, there is a lot of pornography in social media, I'm guessing. I mean,
so they're not counting that. If we count that, then we win, right? Pornography. We have to take a break apparently because they're all. Just look at the people around us. Unfortunately, our listeners can't see them, but they've got their mouths open. They want more. Suddenly they're riveted. Why didn't I go to the same Edinburgh School of Communication and study pornography? We'll take a break, then we'll come back. Lots more with Anant Goenka.
Cyrus says, stop picking your nose. Listen to this ad.
This show is brought to you by iVape.in, and I spoke to Amit Jain, the founder. Amit, of course, is an entrepreneur par excellence who's come up with a sort of, it's almost like NGO come entrepreneurizing work together. So it's almost like the perfect business. It's iVape.in, am I right?
That is correct.
Now, please tell us about it as I hold this lovely product.
Okay, my name is Amit Jain and I'm the founder of iVape.in. We are a US company. We just launched a brand in India called iVape.in, and the goal is we want to help smokers reduce their smoking habits and find a better alternative, a more safer and healthier alternative. And for me, it's a more fun alternative because this comes with all the different flavors, right from your tobacco flavors to non-tobacco flavors, from fruits. You can think of chocolates, frost, lemon. And the whole idea here is that when people switch to these alternatives, they might find this more fun. There is no tobacco, no tar, and alternative you can have with nicotine, without nicotine.
Visit iVape.in to use the code Cyrus Says to get 15% off on your purchase. iVape.in.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Back here on Cyrus Says, Anant Goenka has just opened our eyes with a metaphor which is sort of correct about pornography being the sort of pioneer which takes you to trends, upcoming trends, and you sort of follow. And right now, neck and neck with social media in terms of popularity. Sad that a day has come and pornography may be second, but such is life. We have to move on.
Should we do another pornography parallel with news? Or?
Please. But if it involves Arnab taking off his clothes or something, tell me now.
Well, it involves Arnab. The fact is that he is the most successful news anchor we've had in a long time. I was in LA, and you can tell that he's pretty much almost a frame-by-frame copy of a guy called Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, is that what I've seen Bill O'Reilly. But
who is Fox News, the king of cable, undisputed king of cable in America for almost 20 years plus now. Fox News has a right-wing slant. They claim they don't, but they have a right-wing slant. Right. And why does that work? And I think the answer to that...
It's good television. It's not good journalism. Yeah?
Well, I mean, okay, so...
Or are we being pontificating?
I won't say that. But
no, you talk. You say. No, because you represent the industry rather than I say this. Tell me.
So I asked Sunny Leone this once. I said, how do you get Indians who are so averse to paying for money, paying for content, to pay $20 plus a month on a credit card online to consume, Sunny Leone's sort of channel? When pornography is the most commoditized content in the world. So how do you get them to do that? And I loved the answer she gave, Cyrus. She said that, I realized a long time ago that I was not selling an act when I'm performing. I'm not selling an act, I'm selling an emotion. And if you think of that, that's pretty much what Arnab does. It's in motion. That's pretty much what most of the successful digital operations...
I've lost interest in Arnab because I'm thinking of Sunny Leone's early works. And I don't know about the emotions, but I was just thinking, you got to meet her, you weren't tongue-tied then. Yeah?
No, I managed not to be.
Yeah?
I shut you off and I managed to speak.
And you've
to her.
seen everything that she's done in the cinematic universe.
Purely academically.
There you go. You're a social scientist if I've ever seen one. I respect you so much more, right? Yeah. So let's leave that aside and let's move on from pornography now, if we can, just for a second or two, and go into some interesting things. Challenges and opportunities with moving such a huge brand into a new way of doing things. This internet boom, which was supposed to happen from 2000 onwards, it's always around the corner. And of course, it is growing. We're not denying that. But do you think sometimes you're putting too much store in this whole digital thing as far as the India market goes?
No, I think it's happened. I think it's happened finally. I mean, the kind of money, the revenues and the bottom line we've seen on our digital business this year, we couldn't dream of. I think India has seen its first digital Diwali. There are a lot of brands who spend a lot of money on digital, and without charging for content, and I've always wanted to charge for content, I've never been able to do it, and I don't think I will, because I think the market is growing really fast, and we don't want to sort of stop our growth. The kind of advertising revenue coming in on digital, I think, is...
So give us an insight to the journalistic world, the media world rather, which is, do they put pressure on you? Does the sponsor put pressure on you to perhaps slant in a certain way?
Again... I mean, of course, we do get a fair amount of phone calls.
Yeah. Give me names. Names are always good, please. And tell us what they say.
I mean,
did Mr. Bhagwat call you, for example?
No. I don't think it's as obvious as that. You'll get feelers. Other people will call you. The dissatisfaction will be made known. But no, I think, where Express has sort of worked, and I've learned this from my father and from my stories of my granddad earlier, is that, if you stick to your if you stick to what you do and you really believe in it and you're always on the side of the truth, then I think nobody can really do much beyond a point.
I've just got a phone call saying, stop talking about other things and get back to pornography. People are just going berserk. They're like, why you stay with the topic? And the topic was supposed to be about the digital revolution and Indian Express's role in that.
But digital is here, Cyrus. I mean, I don't think it's coming at the cost of print. I don't think it's coming at the cost of radio. I don't think it's coming at the cost of TV.
There will be print. There will be, because radio never died. That's a good example.
Exactly. I mean, and we are 1.1, 1.2, however we want to count it, billion people.
And growing. By the time we finish the sentence at 1.3.
Exactly.
Control yourselves, Indians. Control yourselves. At least wait till she's asleep, for God's sake. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So
no, I think digital is here, and I think digital is good. I think it's good for all of us. We just have to sort of I think as we've seen in the last 2 years, there was a lot of dumb content only that was being consumed on digital. I think that's evolved, and I think it will evolve further.
And obviously, when you have an India story which is huge, let's say at 26/11, a terrible example to give you, or Diwali for that matter, a huge festival in India. Does the content, the consumers outside the India market, does it become more?
Yeah.
When you have a
always no, it's huge. In fact, we had Arundhati Roy returned her award,
right?
And she sort of wrote why she's returning her award in the Indian Express. So we sort of broke the figure. It was a 150, 400-word essay that she wrote in that paper, announcing that she's returning her award. It was all over. We broke Dadri's story, for instance. That was linked. Washington Post, NYT, Guardian, they all linked to our site. So, I mean,
any failings in Indian society, the West is very quick to jump in, is it?
But I must say that's true. I mean, it's funny. No, you're absolutely, and I have a few...
They're not interested in the Dada Saheb Phalke Award for the 8th time and all that.
No, they're not. In fact, and I have a few friends, obviously, now who are journalists at NYT and LA Times, and no, I mean, it's true. I mean, a rape in India is spoken about on a front page. Why? I mean, it makes no sense. Poverty, it's a huge poverty
thing.
In India is a bigger topic than poverty anywhere else in the world.
Women oppression is big.
So I think the Western press likes to
So they've got their own sort of, let's say, binoculars or sort of glasses with coloured lenses of their own.
And funnily enough, it's always an Indian journalist helping that story, if you look at it closely. If you look at every byline that's come out about a story which doesn't show India in good light on page 1 in any mainstream newspaper in America, you'll see an Indian name there.
So give us how do you guys what's the prioritizing sort of meter? Like if you have the Paris attacks, for example, but you have something big in India at the same time, what goes on the front page? If you have people...
Look, every story is different. I mean, it's tough to... I don't know how to...
I just want to pigeonhole you or put you in a terrible spot and bring back Urmila memories. I just want to do that. I'm just a mean human being. Anant, let's move away from all these talks and talk about you as a writer. You've written a very interesting... by the way, do you write regularly now?
I do not.
But do you want to? What's this issue about being insecure?
I mean,
you've done journalism. You come from the royal family.
I didn't say
of journalism.
insecure. I said unconfident. I'm an unconfident writer because I don't know. I just sort of I guess I feel like every time I write something.
Now don't blame this writing thing on me and Urmila. There's got to be somebody else. It must be that Nikhil Chinnappa guy. He must have done something to you. All right, but you did a very interesting column which was brought up by my producer Amit, who reads everything, on the Wagah border ceremonies, where you've what is it, jingoism that you don't like? What is the point there?
Okay, let's just step back and think about what the point of the Wagah border ceremony is, right? I mean, at one thought it's to sort of celebrate India and celebrate sort of the patriotic feeling of sort of seeing uniforms marching and sort of
the
screaming,
might of the
soldier, etc. But what it really is, it's saying that we are better than you, Pakistan, because there's two soldiers coming face to face and sort of having a screaming match,
and they actually make faces at each
other. And they make faces and they do air kicks and
what's with the air kick? Like, I mean, it's 2015. You press a button and a drone kills millions of people. What the hell is air kick? I mean, even Messi does an air kick. Who air kicks?
Well, there's always a room for symbolism. There's always room for that.
Right.
And we should, I mean, the British know this better than anybody else, right?
And keep the guy in short pants if he's air kicking. It can be so painful. Yeah.
No, but
so what was your stance on the story? Was the symbolism is futile, stupid? What?
No, because it's symbolic of animosity with Pakistan, and I don't think that's helping anyone.
This chest thumping sort of
this chest thumping. We're bigger than you, and there are people in Pakistan who are saying
we are bigger than them. But Anant, I just point out.
Okay.
Here's a map of India. This is Pakistan. This is disputed territory.
No, we're better than them, and you guys are, and it just leads to far many more sort of stereotypes, and that's not helping anyone. Look, if there is a failed state in this world, it's Pakistan.
Yeah.
And their failure as a country
affects us.
It destroys us. It doesn't affect us. I mean, and it affects them as well.
So what should we do? We shouldn't have any ceremony. What about tradition and, going back all these years?
I mean, we should be talking about our neighbors in a far more constructive manner than saying that, look, we're going to, I mean, I fight my mother about this all the time. And my mother was with me when we went to Wagah border.
Right.
And I was sitting out there dissing the whole ceremony, saying, what are we doing? Why are we encouraging Pakistan hatred? And the next thing I see is my mother's carrying an Indian flag and running to the border with it. And
oh my God.
She's waving it out.
This is before Kabir Khan's film, no? Because that girl crossed and we never saw her again.
No, but it's choreographed. Yeah. There is a flag. There's a line of people who can take the flag, run to the border, wave it at them, and they come back and give the flag back to the next person.
And they do the same.
They keep going on, just waving the flag to Pakistan. You go to Pakistan, wave the flag at the border, and come back.
It's hilarious.
And people do it with so much
fervor. Yeah.
It's like
Bhagat Singh himself holding the flag. Come on, man, really.
And it's getting us nowhere. It helps no one. And I think we should put a stop to it quite soon. And at least converse about the fact that Pakistan's a failed state is affecting us. I mean, and to make it fail more is not going to help us at all.
Yeah, and to hate, there's a sort of hatred that comes with the machismo and the macho-giri that you're doing. I get what you're saying. Now I have decided I'm going to become one of your disciples and follow your path. No more Wagah border ceremonies for me. I will not go pull the flag and run around and make faces at the so-called neighbor, enemy, whatever you want to say. But yeah, very good point. So jingoism, not your thing, and it is bordering on jingoism, all this. So there you go. As a writer, you find interesting points if we go by this story. So what else is there from your pen? What can we expect?
What more can you expect?
What affects Anant? What is he? Like for me, it's always, I think I'm a very selfish man, so I'm more interested in the parking, immigration queues, but it's all micro.
Yeah.
But you seem to have a little wider sort of scope. So what's on your radar?
I mean, aside from the general politics and stuff, I love music. I'm a failed drummer. I'm a failed pilot.
My God.
So these are all things
he came in a BMW 7 Series. Fail my ass. I'm the failed bloody. I'm going back by rickshaw. Yeah. So drummer, you played in a group for some time?
I tried, and whoever I played with got married, had kids, and then they stopped playing.
How long was the song? You deserve to go back to the Wagah border and march with them. Yeah.
No, so I've unfortunately, this the kind of work expresses. I've struggled to have continuity in anything, but I'm very fond of music. I'm a failed pilot. One of the reasons I was in LA also was to learn.
But you have a pilot's license, obviously.
I do not have a license. So
failed. A brown skinned man telling me he's a failed pilot, got a license from LA. I'm a little worried.
And why I did fail is
you're scared of heights.
No.
Uniforms, old women. Urmila, me?
It was a very cute lady on when I was giving my exam. There was a very sweet-sounding woman in the air traffic control.
What?
And
It was a voice? Man, you're a scary gentleman. So you fell in love with the voice on ATC.
She fell in love with me because she gave me a wrong command. I was about...
What are you saying?
I was about 100 feet off the ground coming into land.
Oops.
My instructor next to me.
Ouch.
And she says, Cherokee 7 Victor Papa, turn right 30 degrees, no delay. So I say, roger that, and I'm turning right 30 degrees, and my instructor takes the yoke out of my hand and says, come again, Santa Monica, we are 50 feet off the ground.
All right.
And she got the call sign wrong. She was talking to somebody else. And had I completed that right turn, I would have probably collided with another plane coming on the parallel runway.
Okay, two things. First, you sound like there's some pharmacies nearby that have been used because we can't understand what you said
Is that, okay,
in terms of aviation lingo. But secondly, let me understand this. If you took the turn that she said, so she instructed you. The instructor instructed you.
Not the instructor.
Well, the
air
ATC.
traffic control.
But in a sense, the instructor, because she's telling you what to do, right? You have
I mean,
to follow her.
she's.
Is it a test where you have to make a decision on your own, or do you have to follow? That's all I want to know.
You have to listen to air traffic control, but you've got to
it's
be
her
smart
fault.
enough. It was her fault, but you got to be smart enough to know when they're
Was
making
she
an error.
Pakistani? No, we cleared that. But that's scary. So you could have you could have sort of, what is the right word? Collided.
I could have collided, and so I failed my test because I
And
should
now-
have known air traffic control made a
And now
mistake.
you're the chairman of Air India, is it? How sad. Do you want to do it again?
I do, but I just never got a chance to go back to it.
You must.
I know.
You must overcome these things. Just tick them off.
It's fine. You can fly anywhere. You don't need a license.
No, man. Listen, you can afford your own planes. You can take your own. Come on, do the right thing.
I wish I could afford my own plane, Cyrus. And the only way to fly in India is to have your own plane. I mean, it's just so tough otherwise.
You're telling me? I told you 2 hours from Sri Lanka, which is like just around the corner. Ridiculous standing in those lines. Anant, let's come back to your writing. I think you're for some reason a little modest about it. But can we expect more writing? And more interesting than just the writing is your thought process. You're finding interesting things, hooks. For example, the Wagah border ceremony and what it symbolizes for you. So like that, what else can we expect from you?
I think you can expect from any person associated with the Express is sort of just, exactly what you said, calling a spade a spade. One of the things I wrote recently was about Sachin when he became a Rajya Sabha MP.
Right.
We need to sort of get ministers who aren't always playing it safe. We need to get ministers who are happy to take a stand.
Yeah.
Who are happy to
That's a fair criticism, actually.
do something with their celebrity status, and who are happy to, at
To
least
go out there and do things,
to
not
go out
just
there
be
and
symbolic. Yeah.
Not just be a symbol. And so I think,
That's why I didn't accept the same Rajya Sabha seat and I sent it to him. I said, because I'm going to be on the line here. I'm not going to, call a spade a spade. Like, women, I'm sorry, yeah. So you had the guts to do that because he's like the sacred cow. Nobody actually ever says anything.
And so we really don't have any holy cows in the Express, and I really can't tell you what I'll write, and when I'll even start writing again properly.
But it's
like
good
I
to know.
used
You're always searching for this little, what's slightly wrong with this picture sort of thing. Well, very interesting. I think that you should talk to the person who you report to, who is yourself, and immediately give yourself a column. A byline, a weekly, no less. Not bi-weekly, not monthly, weekely. All
Maybe
right?
the audiences need to want a little bit more of this and less of Cyrus Brocha.
No, I will call it the nation did want to know. Because since you've been influenced by Arnob and Bill O'Reilly.
But Cyrus knew satire.
Yes.
As a
format.
as a format, and as somebody who's pioneered the format in India, at least. You see,
and Pakistan and South Asia, I'd like to take credit. Yeah, go ahead.
No, but do you see, how sustainable is it? I mean, and how sort of stuck on a personality is it?
What the hell? He's interviewing me.
Why not? That's my job.
Okay, we'll do 2 shows then. All right. Let me change clothes. On TV, we always change clothes. No, it's interesting that we've always had satire, or as they say, vyang in Hindi, in the vernaculars. Let's look at print first. Always. But somehow in television, there's very little of it. But now, obviously, it's going to be more and more, and in all languages as well. We have actually a Marathi channel as well. We have, on English, we have 2 or 3 people now. We've got Hindi as well. So I think there's space for everybody because we're a critical country. Yeah. And the kind of feedback we get at airports and places when we meet public, a lot of people, think of us also as a sort of Arnab Goswami character, who's striking back at the establishment sometimes.
Yep.
So they say things like that, which is good. as far as competition goes, and more people will find out.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I have the podcast. Amit is nice enough to keep me here for 6 months at a time.
No, but the Jamie Oliver kind of format. Even Comedy Central. I mean, Jon Stewart was. Started, I mean, did you ever did you ever expect them to become so influential politically?
In America, ultimately, it looked like he called the elections.
Exactly.
I mean, exactly. I don't know if that'll happen here as yet because we are too fractured. We look at different markets. We talk to. There's no universal market in television at the moment.
But could a satire? I
think they're listening to us and a little bit more.
But do you ever see a satire becoming so influential?
It's possible. It all depends on how. Yeah, it's possible. I think your digital thing is going to make a difference now.
Yeah.
We'll see how the next generation reacts.
Yeah.
But they definitely seem to be a little more interested in having their voice heard, which will make a difference. But I can't answer that question because India is a really complicated country. Anant, you answer that question.
In multiple languages.
In multiple languages and different demographics and, but it's possible.
And that's and that's really where, India gets interesting is because, so we publish the largest Marathi newspaper, Lok Sakta, one of the largest. I can't say largest.
I think it is the largest. It's our program. We can say what we want. It is the largest. Lok Sakta is the largest selling Marathi paper.
Then
if you don't believe me,
but then
I'll do my out no voice again.
But then let's just say the largest paper in the world, right? So
largest paper in the bloody world. Yes, available at Wagah border.
So I think that's growing as a print format. Languages as a format is growing a lot, and you can't imagine how different the content in Lok Sakta is from any other newspaper. In Bombay, forget anywhere else in India. It's just the sensibilities are so different. People's interests are so different.
It's no homogeneous market for us. So it's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
For them in the States, it's a little more homogeneous. I wouldn't say that one big bubble, but it's a little bit more.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt that Jon Stewart had such an effect of him alone. Let's not look at all of them, but him alone. And then the other late night shows as well.
Yeah.
Because why would they come on? Why would an influential senator come on it? Why would the president come on it? Why would the vice president come on it? Musharraf, well, he needed a place to go because they pushed him out of Pakistan. All right, Anand, we're running out of time. You've been very interesting. I wanted to talk more about your life and times, but you just went on talking about pornography and Urmila, so we have to cut it short. We'll come back with our last section, which is the AMAs. Ask me anything.
Okay.
And we need you to answer questions.
Okay.
Now, you don't play the journalist. We'll play the journalist and make you answer questions. Just one last question. How much do you earn?
Not enough.
Not enough.
Cyrus says, ask me anything. If you want Cyrus to answer your questions on air, send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com. If you send us a link to a sound file on SoundCloud, we'll even play you asking the question in your own voice. And that's what Cyrus says.
And Anant Goenka still with us here on Cyrus Says. Other hobbies, of course, visionary. He's going to change the world one Wagah border step at a time. But he'll also tell us about his other interesting hobbies. You used to play rugby?
I used to play rugby. I was very bad at it, but...
Everything you say, you're bad at. I failed it. This is sounds like a typical British upper-class, Eton educated boy who comes back and rubbishes himself, and then you find out he's got like 13 Golden Globes. What's wrong with this guy? Yeah.
Well, I was vice-captain of my school rugby team. I wasn't going to be captain.
Your captain was Rishi Paintsey.
Rishi never played rugby in school.
What was he doing?
After he left, I don't know what he was.
Which school did you go to?
I was in Cathedral.
They played rugby at Cathedral?
School of the Poor.
It was the only school that played rugby. So
I think, more or less.
Well, BIS used to play, then they stopped. So
Yeah.
when we were playing with the only school that played, and then we would like get matches with the Armenians, right? And and we're like,
and there was like army of 15 really angry men from Calcutta.
Oh my God, man! I mean, they were huge guys. I mean, I was like a really big kid in school, and looking at the smallest Armenian was like I've been looking up at him, and like huge guy, and like
physically violent for reasons we can't explain.
Oh my God! Like they were dangerous, and so we're playing our first match with the Armenians. We're like really excited. It was the South Asia Rugby Champion, whatever, and at Bombay Gym, and while Cyrus was sort of doing his biceps or whatever he was doing at the gym there.
Look at the language grace and which he rubbishes my weight training. I'm getting to understand Anand much better now. It's self-replicating for himself and then also for the guest, but in a poetic way. Yeah, go on.
So we were playing the Armenians. We were very excited about it, and the last minute, and we're 72 love Cathedral love. Armenians are 72.
Rubbish.
And my captain Karan Gokhani, and I was in the 11th grade, and he was 12th, and he comes to me. He's like, "We are not letting one more try go through. No matter what happens, we are promising we're not letting one more try go through." And we were like, "There's no way they're getting past us." We all stand up like a wall, and I was like left prop, so I was proper sort of I was
they got the big guys on the team.
Yeah. So this one guy comes at me, and I'm looking at his shorts. That sounds terrible, but as a guy comes running, supposed to target shorts and sort of take him down. And
for the tackle, Amit.
For the tackle.
It's not like he's pulling the shorts down and saying, "Hello, I'm Anant." It's not one of those. Yeah.
That's not rugby. That's something else.
No.
Yeah.
So I try to tackle him, and next thing I know, I'm holding one foot and I'm being dragged sort of ahead. And then one more guy comes, and the next thing we know, our entire 13 people of our squad are on one guy. No, they're still holding him.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a whole sort of mall out of it, but it's not happening. He's still sort of moving. And then one guy from the back comes full speed and just hits him and breaks his leg.
Wow.
So fun times.
So Indian Express subscription to Armenia. Not good. And one man's responsible. The Captain Karan Gogani. With his inspiring speech that went nowhere. Yeah. So rugby, very interesting. Of course, it's all part of the South Mumbai culture of the schools in that area. What else do you do in your
not schools in that area, just one school.
Well, it used to be more than one Campion. Also. There were schools, but
Campion never played.
Campion, they all used to play in the old days. It's also
no, that was Campion playing football. It looked like rugby, but it was playing.
You mean those Campionites are so slow they carry the ball and pass it to each other? Hello, uncle, take the ball and just yeah.
But most boys' schools, I think, would make more sport into rugby, right? They have to hit for no reason.
Yeah, they're just fighting over nothing. Yeah. That's true. Contact sport is golf for us. Golf is contact sport now. So what do you do, Anant? What do you do now in your spare time? Let's get away from the serious.
I wish I did more, but I still try and play the drums a lot.
Yeah. But this time without friends, because they get married and that's really embarrassing.
So it's always with somebody else.
So you're a decent drummer. Tell the truth.
I'm an really just about all right drummer.
Right.
Love music. I do a lot of. I love motorsports. I do a lot of off-road racing, rallying, that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, that's about it, really.
Do you have a license? Just checking. How come you never said you're a bad motorsports driver? Everything else you've been bad at in your eyes, and then you let that go.
The one thing I'm good at, Cyrus. The one thing I'm good at in the world is driving.
What are you saying?
I've inherited my driving genes from my father. He had this ambition to make me the world's youngest driver.
Yeah.
So he put me on his lap when I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
And I could drive by 6.
So, are you kidding me?
And
you're saying this on TV? Radio, something, some format. So you could drive, you could reach the pedal, you could reach the accelerator.
So my dad's really into cars, so he sort of managed to raise the pedals, and I was a big kid, and I missed the world record by a year actually. So you are.
Now see, if you were born in Cal, you could have just fudged that. I mean, come on, who'd know? Oh, man.
No, but you are interviewing, Cyrus, the second youngest driver in the world.
What are you saying?
At least as of 2002. I don't know what happened after that.
And illegal in Mumbai. I'm so honored. So honored to finally find someone who broke the law. So at 6, you would actually, could you move the steering with your own hands?
No. I mean, I could drive at 6. We went to the Guineas and we tried to enter, and they said you missed the record by a year. The youngest driver was 5. Wow. And the youngest driver in the world is from Calcutta.
That's not surprising.
1 minute. There you go. I just told you what they do in those parts of India. I want to see.
I should have checked.
Did you check the bone density? You have to do other tests, man. You've got to pinch the nipples and see the reaction. That tells you the actual age. But that's what Amit and I do while we wait for guests, by the way. Let's talk about your rugby stories in short pants. Yeah. All right, listen, we have the AMA to do, which we haven't gotten to. Anant, very interesting personality, but we have interesting questions as well, which maybe you can help us with.
Yeah, I think there are a couple which actually that one I think that you were talking about somewhere else when I was looking through your Twitter feed. So actually, let's do that question first. This is from Anand Yadav. Why does Modi only answer tough questions when he's out of India? Do Indian journalists stay away from asking these kinds of questions? How do you think he did?
This is almost a racist point, because many Indian personalities, when they asked by a foreign press, react to the same question nicely. But in India, they react really badly if you ask them questions which are, close to whatever, under the skin kind of questions.
I think in Modi's case, he just, I think one of my criticisms of this government and of Modi specifically is that he just doesn't engage. He just does not engage. He
just disappears, yeah.
And, whatever engagement happens strictly off record. And honestly, I don't blame him, because the press has never been very fair to him.
They're not fair to him. That's true, too.
And so I don't blame him. And he's here despite the
why
press.
With the international press, he'll take the question? The question is on...
Yeah, that was my comment,
which this guy replied to. So, no, I think, and the reason that happens is because, there's the MEA involved, the External Affairs Ministry, and those are sort of, you've got the British protocol guys, and the British protocol officers are going to dictate the press terms.
Right.
And there's little, how much can you influence that? And the Guardian, is the Guardian, and I love them. In fact, we look at ourselves as an Indian Guardian, and you can't control the question that they ask.
No, but I mean, do you think that Indian journalists do shy away, or is it that he just simply does not engage?
No, he doesn't engage, and and so then there's all this trading of access.
He's got a very simple weapon. Also, he just points to Sushma Swaraj, and journalists are scared of her. So initially the whole thing gets diffused because nobody wants to ask her a question. So I think it's all a plan in place. I mean, don't worry, smart guys running the country.
But he really doesn't, and he should do a lot more. And a few tough questions, if he answers nearly as well as he answered the questions in UK,
right?
I think it would do wonders.
So you think
for
he
him
did
there.
a good job in
I do think so.
Yeah.
I think I did a fantastic job in UK.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Paris attacks happened and just wiped it all out.
Right.
Yeah. And then suddenly he was the least important person in Turkey because all the guys are in the middle of a civil war almost. And it's a bit sad for us because our prestige was there, and then it was just sort of let's sideline you because we've got to deal with this.
I mean, but it's okay. He travels so much, he'll come again a few months.
He's there next weekend. I'm telling you, that man's Jet Airways mileage is unbelievable. The whole village can travel to Alaska and back for years.
Well, he travels on Air India, so it's Star Airlines. So he's got Star Platinum now.
Star Platinum, is it? Yeah, I like Air India, by the way. I'm a fan. I know
Me too.
You're a pilot, so you never know. One day, Amit, are you a pilot?
I'm not a pilot, but I do like the Air India New York flight. I think that's the best flight to New York.
It is. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's better than any American.
It's better than any flight.
I don't understand why people want to break journeys. Why do I go to stretch my legs? I mean, you can walk in the plane.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I want to stretch my legs. And
Cyrus is sitting in first class, stretching his legs.
No, I don't want
And
to
he's
stretch my legs.
complaining about the
People-
guys in economy saying, I
people-
can't stretch my leg. I'm sitting in the middle of 10 people.
Other people want to stretch their legs. I never said that. I don't want to stretch anything. I want to just stay like a big bubble and not move. I feel like the blob. That's what I want to call myself. All right, let's move away from question 1 to 2.
Here, this is another question which I think you might be interested in because it's about cars to an extent. No, not really about cars. But this is from Himisha De Silva. Why don't us Indians learn or understand how to use the lights in cars at night? Beaming idiots some are.
It's a very good question. It irritates crap out of me. Full on, you're coming down. Why is the light? I mean, why?
Why a high
Blind
beam?
people
Yeah.
left, right, and center.
I agree.
Anant, the car expert.
These questions, I mean, has this been directed to me?
No, it is.
Did somebody see me with like a high beam on? Like,
You one of them. But culturally, we just don't think about these things. We just drive the thing on full. Nobody seems to.
you never know when there's no traffic light. So I mean, my high beams are not my high beams, but I put my lights on full
No, the
always.
lights are on all
No,
the way.
a
But I mean,
subtle
it's
light
the one
of-
that gets into the person's eyes.
Yeah.
coming
What
across,
she's trying to
right?
talk about is just blindsiding you.
Yeah. No, I don't think we have a lot of road sense in that sense.
But
we don't.
But her point is a little deeper. It is when it comes to car culture.
Yeah,
we don't
car culture is
we
bad.
don't want to drive, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no culture around it.
Yeah.
We can't fix anything. We can't, we can't do an oil
I
change.
think she lives in Calcutta. Does she? Do you think?
Will you leave Calcutta alone? What are you doing? It's a huge market. I know Delhi's been good to you, but what the hell, yeah?
So we just moved our office to Noida.
Oh, you have?
We just moved, which is where all media is right now, and
So you're in UP now, proper.
we are in UP. We are Akhilesh territory,
Yeah.
and we pay the toll.
Yeah.
And every car, it could be a 7 Series, it could be whatever, and whoever's coming from Delhi pays that Noida toll, and they come into Noida, and they start driving like flies. You just can't, there's no sense of anything. I mean, there are buses who will stop in the middle of the road, people getting off. I mean, it is scary. The culture, it
just switches.
It just switches. You just like pay the
the
toll,
second you do it.
and you just like,
That's your next story. Start writing now. We'll finish this podcast in a minute. Start writing now.
No, but I mean, it's not like Delhi has the greatest road culture either, man.
At least, it's better than Noida.
It's better than Noida, but I mean, like,
They have
that's a
ri-
low bar to
They have a
cross.
right turn, left turn, and a pistol. Those are three signals that are used normally.
All right. This one is from Anonymous. What do you think of the day-night test match in Adelaide with a pink ball? At what point will this game be completely divorced from any sense of tradition?
Well, I think they're just trying to survive. It's the same thing about the digital movement, etc. As far as I'm concerned, the Aussies are smart enough, and the New Zealanders, to think about the future, and Test cricket's not getting enough crowds, except in Australia.
No,
Amazingly.
but I think it's actually a great idea.
I
to
think it's
have
a good idea.
day and night cricket match. It makes it much easier
Your
to
second and
attend.
third session is post-work time.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's much easier for people to
I can
attend
actually
it.
go there if I have no wife and girlfriend, which currently I don't. Well, I do have a wife, but no girlfriend. So I'm saying it makes sense. Anant, would you like to comment?
No, I think any thing that's popular must keep innovating in formats. So
For
whether
the
it's a
traditionalists-
sport, whether it's a religion, I think you need to keep
Innovating
in formats.
Yeah. and not get so touchy about the fact that some change is good.
Change is good. I mean, we broadcast Lal Bagh Cha Raja on our Lok Sabha website. We broadcast it live.
Yeah.
What kind of audiences we get, So then, I don't know what the parallel is with that, but like, again.
Be very careful. Be very careful. We're talking about a pink ball here. Yeah.
No, but you gotta sort of, I think innovation in formats is great and I welcome it all.
I think T20 is eating up into cricket, especially in Asia. So if you do this, we have a chance with Test cricket. It's really sad.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it makes it doable, right? I mean, like today, if you want to watch a Test match, that's simply not in the cards. You can't do it, right? I mean, who can take 3 days, 4 days off?
We could, but we're subcontinent.
Yeah.
What are the Australians talking about? How much do they work? They're fighting for a 3-day weekend. It's pending in Parliament as we speak. We'll do 9 to 6 instead of 9 to 5, Monday to Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. That's a civilized society. God, I want to go there.
I could live with that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that being a good
Rugby could have some format innovation.
Rugby does. They're using everything now.
They are.
Yeah. Did you watch the World Cup?
I watched
By the way, Jonah
Lomu
Lomu passed away today, sadly.
Okay. No.
Famous New Zealand legendary rugby player. And on that depressing note, I think we'll have to end the show. And salutations to Anant Goenka. And I'm sure that you will lead Indian Express into the right direction,
Thanks
which
for having me,
always
Cyrus.
has been.
Great
and
fun.
thanks for being a sport. And we'll leave you with a picture of him flying his plane. Okay. Be very careful.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
All views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily the views and opinions of the IndusVox Media Network or any of our show advertisers or sponsors. No animals were harmed in the making of this podcast, obviously.